So this comes to the start of Colungo and Ralph's story. I know it's taken a while. I apologize, but backstory is important for you to understand what's happening. So Colungo and Ralph awoke on a day that was like any other day. They went and found that a human had been captured. Talking to Gil, their basically the town's kind of security official, their head of security, if you would. Gil is a lizard, just a little like think of the Geico gecko, but more lizardy, not gecko-y. Even though gecko is a lizard, but shut up. Think of like a forest, like kind of lizard. I can't. My descriptions are hard. Okay. Anyway, he's a lizard man, and they kind of talked to him for a bit. He told them about how they had captured this guy, and they they went in to basically see what he had, and found a couple of vials of a red liquid, which, after looking at it for a few moments, Ralph couldn't really figure out what it was, and Colungo said, maybe it's berry juice. That is Colungo. He's a big, lovable lummox, if you would. In the beginning, there were many comparisons to Lenny from Of Mice and Men, and that whole the duo of him and the other guy. It's been so long since I've read that book or seen the movie, so I can't remember, but I know Lenny, because everybody knows Lenny. George? Was that the other one? Anyway, many comparisons to that happened. So, after having scouted that kind of thing out, Ralph, of course, has magical like, he can understand magic more so as being an why is the word escaping me again? Artificer. Ralph has more magically inclined, or he is more magically inclined because of the whole artificer thing. He was kind of the best person to kind of figure out what some things are that other people couldn't figure out. But considering they kind of figured that those vials were nothing, they kind of kept them and gave the weapons and such that they found on the guy to the town. And the town kind of works on like a bartering system of like, you give this, I'll give you that. And so some of them have picked up coins and the crossbow, and they don't have access to metal unless the humans themselves bring metal in. So most of them have stone kind of arrows or bolts or weapons and such. Upon giving that stuff to Gil, they decided that they needed some food, and Colungo, being a vegetarian, was like, I'll just get some berries along the way, and Ralph was like, but I like meat! So they decided, as Colungo was a decent enough tracker, that they would go out and try to find something. Going out into the woods, they tracked a rabbit with Colungo's keen eyes. They tracked a rabbit, followed it out to the outskirts of the forest, kind of in view of Cromarth. They decided to try to just get the rabbit before it kind of made its way out towards Cromarth Moor. Colungo let loose a javelin, which scared the rabbit, and as it was about to bolt, Ralph let out a bolt into it, which didn't kill it immediately because of a bad roll, but it did hit it, and it did let out that horrible noise that rabbits make when they die. It's a terrible noise. Don't you dare ever look it up or listen to it. It's a horrible, horrible thing. Oh god. This kind of happened, and as it lay screaming, they heard, after it kind of had succumbed, they heard movement, and somebody going, the fuck was that? A couple of humans came up over a hill, and they saw the big gorilla man and the smaller rat man really a huge, like he's a big rat. Think about it. They saw them. Colungo immediately, without hesitation, gets Ralph and tries to convince them that they are regular animals by beating his chest, or at least what he had hoped to be beating his chest and going, ooh, 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 you know, like a gorilla. I was like, okay, roll me a performance. He rolls very, very low. If it wasn't a nat 1, I think it was low. I don't think it was a nat 1, but it might have been, because he goes, ooh, ooh, ook. Like, enunciating it enough to see that he's faking it, and he can't do both at the same time. Ooh. Ook. And it takes off with Ralph basically just face-palming in his hand. They run into the forest, and they think, maybe if they come, we should hide, see if they come in, and maybe ambush them if they're trying to follow us. Which is a good idea, of course. Colungo climbs a tree. Hadozi, super good at climbing. 3.5, has climb as a thing. He had like a +4 or something. Fucking climbs that tree, easy. I think he got like a 26 on his roll. 26? Does that even... Yeah, no, I think he put some points into it too. So, he climbs. Ralph decides, I'll also climb that tree. Rolls a 4, excuse me. Tries it again. Colungo's like, I know what it'll do. I'll help. But he has a bunch of rope tied like in a sack that, kind of tied to him. He also carries a sack with his javelins just for stuff. So he takes his rope, ties it to the branch. Ralph rolls, and mind you, with a rope, the DC for climbing it with kind of a surface that you can hold on to with your feet, basically, is 5. He rolls a 4. And at this point, he's like, fuck it. I'm just gonna try to hide. And goes and rolls, I think, a 7? Something low as he goes and jumps into some brush, but he's clearly visible. His tail is sticking out. You know, you can see his fur and such, and the crossbow is kind of like out of the brush. And the humans come by, and they notice our main rat boy in the brush. The human approaches our rat friend, saying, you know, oh, it's a giant rat. We could sell this to the circus. To which Ralph responds with, what's a circus or something? Immediately throwing the guy off guard. Going, a talking rat? That's worth even more! And he goes to try to get him. Of which, combat initiates, and it ended up being hilarious. 5 or 6 rounds, or 7 rounds? It was a very long time that I've had at a level 1 party. So the 2 humans, right? One of them kind of held 2 blades. A short sword and a dagger, or of some sort, or something. I can't remember exactly at the moment. The other one kind of had a bow. Ralph had a crossbow and decided, I'm just gonna shoot this guy. Kind of misses the first shot, you know. Guy kind of comes up. Also misses with both of his weapon attacks. Because it's extremely hard to hit this rat man. Colungo, up in the tree, looks down. One of the javelins just embeds itself in the swordman's shoulder. Screams out in pain. The bow guy looks up. Scratches Colungo. Rat Boy continues to try to shoot this guy. Misses again. I think he only hits the sword guy once in this fight. Maybe twice. He was rolling consistently below 10. And at level 1, that's not great. It was a horrible time. Anyway, So they're kind of going at it. Colungo decides, and the player himself was like, can I try and just jump and, like, land on the bow guy? Or, sorry, no, on the sword guy. And I was like, yeah, okay, try it. Roll your jump. See how good you do. And I was thinking, yeah, he's a dozy. It should be fine. Like a 10 will get him there. Rolls a 7. So he jumps. He kind of loses his balance as he's jumping. And he kind of glides and lands, like, in front. Like, between the rat and the man. Just, oh. Which, after, trying to swipe a couple times, he gets stabbed with the javelin, and he kind of retreats back. The other guy with the bow continues and keeps skimming Colungo a couple times more during this fight. Ultimately, they knock down the swordman. His friend goes over to him, taking a similar vial to one that they have with red liquid, pouring it down his mouth. He gets up. After a while, Colungo is like, I've tried to be nice, but I need you to stop hurting us, and trying to hurt my brother. And immediately stabs into, like, the chest of the bowman as he kind of walks up to him, fucking killing him instantly. He goes down. The other guy continues, because he's getting really mad. He's, like, cursing at these animals. He's very angry. Tries to go and attack, and he does knock down Colungo. But in similar suit, Ralph decides, the other guy did it, I'm gonna do it, and gives Colungo one of the potions. Colungo regains consciousness. On the ground, as the swordman comes up to try to hit our rat friend, which has worked out very well for him so far, Colungo decides, hey, I have rope. Can I throw rope at him? And I sit there for a second, and I'm like, so you're gonna take your bundle of rope, and you're just gonna throw a bundle of rope at him? And and he's like, yeah, I'll do that. Alright, roll for it. He rolls. He gets a nat 20. And in my kind of thing, I like to do, if you get a critical, you roll again to see if you confirm it, and maybe something additional will happen. So if you roll a critical, and then you roll again and get between 15 and 20, you might get something additional to happen. He rolls it again, and gets a nat 1, which, in my rules, resets it. So you have to roll again, just to see what you get. Rolls again, gets a nat 20, rolls again, does not confirm. So, the Hadozi, on the ground, gets his rope. The swordman gets a bundle of rope go on him, just kind of, and he's like, what? The fuck is what? And it takes him around, basically an action, to just kind of shrug the rope off, which is enough time for the Hadozi later on to get up and just also stab this guy and kill him. That was the first combat of the campaign. This took around an hour or so. And it was amazing. God, I loved it. It was so good. Because of all of the just complete absurdity of all the low rolls, and no one hit Ralph at all. Like, he was grabbed at one point. I forgot to mention, he was grabbed by the swordman, because he had gotten sick of it. He was grabbed by the swordman, and the swordman, in a grapple in 3.5, you can do damage to something, and you get, it's basically considered to be, I think flat-footed, or something of the like, where it's very easy to hit somebody this way. And I rolled for it, and I got a 2 or something. And so, even with the rat here, right? Rat person. Uh, like, it was, this rat could not be hit. He couldn't hit anything, but he could not be hit. It was amazing. It was the funniest round of combat I've had for a while. After that kind of thing, they took some stuff off the bodies, which included some better armor for Kolungo, the weapons, and another potion that replaced the one that was used on Kolungo. And then they buried them, 6 inches into the ground so that they could feed the trees. Returning to the town, giving off the weapons, and the story continues in another part, I think, because this has already taken a long time to get to this point. So apologies, but the story of Kolungo and Ralph does not end there. I will continue this next time, so stay tuned.
Hey everyone, hope you liked the video. Really appreciate it if you watched this part. I didn't put visuals in because I didn't really feel like they were necessary at this point, but if you want more, let me know. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and do the bell thing, and hope you're around for the next one. Yeah, see you then.